All right, well, welcome to today's class. Today we're going to continue a class that we started before a couple weeks ago, I think, all about verb tenses. All right, so today what I want to do is start out with kind of a quick review of what we looked at last time, because there are some people that probably didn't see the first one, and I know that Bobin here wasn't in that class either. Okay, so let me just share my screen with you for a second. One moment. There we go. I'm getting used to all of this now. Okay, perfect. So this is kind of where we started. Basically it says what's a tense? A tense refers to time. We have past, present, and future. And we have 12 tenses in the active voice, okay? We also have the passive, which we talked about, but that's a whole nother class day. All right. So let me just move down. All right. So basic overview, like I said, I'll just go through this very quickly as a quick review for everyone. If you do have questions, go ahead and start talking. All right. So between Ken and Bob, go ahead and ask me a question because I'm only looking at this part. Okay. So some rules, all the continuous tenses in the present, past, and future continuous. We always have the verb to be and then the ing after the main verb, okay? We'll see some examples in a second. All of the perfect tenses, we have the verb to have in the present and then the past, and then in the past participle as well. Okay, this is different for all of it depending if it's past perfect, present perfect, or future perfect. Then here we have one example of the future. We have will or won't, okay? Positive and negative. And the bare infinitive, which we can see here at the bottom, means the infinitive without to. I call that the base verb, okay? And then here we also have the past simple, okay? And this actually is a mistake, and I don't know how to fix this, but did and didn't for the negative or questions, okay? So do we would use for the present. All right, going to continue on here. So, oops, a little bit too far there. A little bit too far there. Okay, so again, the present tenses, all right? The present simple and present continuous are on this slide. All right. I'll just go through the examples, okay? People watching can always pause and read. Like I said, we did this last class as well. So these have been read already. Okay, so I am a woman, that's true. This building is very tall. She plays football every week. Water boils at 100 degrees and he loves her. All right. And then for the present continuous, I'll go ahead and move this a little bit here. Okay. For an example, I am eating now. She isn't eating now. Okay. These are things that we do in the moment. We have the positive and the negative verbs here. All right. Hopefully there are no questions. We do have a warning slide for you. Be careful. ING is not always the present continuous, all right? This is kind of a whole nother class day, I would say, all right? There are many different times that we can use the verb in ING. Sometimes it's a verb, sometimes it's a noun. So it just depends on the structure of the sentence, okay? And so this is, for example, they love playing, like my cats are playing right now. They love playing tennis, for example. This is not present continuous, okay? This is a verb pattern. We have two verbs in a row here. So we have the first one, love, second one, play, okay? And also, this is the ing. It's a gerund, but that's only because of love, because after certain verbs, we use it with ing or infinitive with to, or with just the base verb. So again, this is a whole nother class, all right? Whole nother class. So I'll just continue on. And I believe this is where we ended in the last class. Maybe Ken can confirm that once we get to the next slide. But we talked about the present perfect. Okay. I have eaten 3 apples today. Okay, that's great. In the question form, have you had dinner yet? And that new cinema still hasn't opened. Okay, in the negative. All right. Okay, and then here we have the present perfect continuous. Okay, I have been eating. All right, move this. And then she has been running. And for the last example, it has been snowing. Okay, so these are other examples of the present perfect continuous. We did have some questions with this last class. Anything now? Any questions here? Doesn't sound like it. Okay, well, good, that's fine. And so what we can do is go to the next slide. Like I said, Ken, you were here last time, and I don't think we got to this one, right? You didn't?
Mhm. Yeah, maybe no. Yeah. I don't
Okay.
remember exactly, but
Okay. No, I don't think, I think we stopped at the previous one. Oh, hi, Anna. I didn't see you. I just got back into the room, so that's fine. Nice to see you. Anna, you and Bob know each other, so that's good.
Hi, Becky.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, what I think we'll do, just like last time, the last class that we did this, is we will have you read. So, for example, Bob, if you'd like to read the past simple, you can read the example, structure, functions, and keywords, okay? Does that work?
And number 5, past simple.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. She had a dog 5 years ago. Go to school together. Wasn't open when I wanted to go in. Eat anything for lunch. Structure, subject plus verb in past. Functions and action in a finished time. Keywords, last night, 5 years ago, a year ago. Becky.
Yep, very good. So that's fine. Any questions here? This is pretty basic, I would say, just the normal past simple tense. We have regular verbs and irregular verbs. Yeah, Anna, Bob's internet connection probably isn't the best, but that's fine. At least everything is here written. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
no.
What? Okay, that's fine. Past tenses, we use the past simple when it's something specific, you know, a specific time period, not a duration. For example, this is last night. Okay, so last night happened and it finished. Okay. And then we have 5 years ago. So it's a specific time in the past. Okay. In this sentence, they often walked to school together means that it was a habit in the past. Okay. And the shop wasn't open when I wanted to go in. It was a specific moment that you wanted to enter into the shop and it wasn't open. Okay. And then for lunch, okay, he didn't eat anything for lunch. Lunch was earlier today, so that has also passed. Okay. So, any questions about that? This is specific moments in the past. All right. Okay, well, if there aren't any questions, why don't we have Anna go ahead and read the past continuous here, okay?
Past continuous. Example. I was walking to school when I saw my friend. I was watching TV last night. It was raining all night. Structure. Subject plus was or plus verb in continuous form. Functions. An action that was interrupted by another action. A long action happening in a past time. Last week all night.
Okay, great. So again, in this case, it's a little bit different. This is in a specific moment, but a duration of time, okay? So I was walking to school when I saw my friend. In this case, okay, we have two actions. We're walking, okay, that's the longer action. And I saw my friend. To see someone only takes a moment. And so that's why saw is in the past simple. Okay, so for a shorter period of time, and walking is in the continuous tense, which is the longer action in this sentence. Okay. I was watching TV last night is that's a duration. So you're not saying exactly for how long, okay? But it was probably an hour or two, maybe even 3 hours, okay? Because it is a continuous tense. And then it was raining all night. Okay, well, the night we can say probably has at least 8 hours. So it was raining during those 8 hours. So that's a duration of time. Okay, so we don't always have to specify with numbers, but it's due to the context. All right. Any questions with this one? Any doubts that you might have?
I had a question about present continuous. Sometimes now, people begin to say, "I'm loving it." Maybe is it acceptable? In a kind of, I cannot say in a
Well,
textbook.
are
Yeah,
you talking about the McDonald's slogan?
right.
I'm loving
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so as a teacher, I have to say 50-50. Okay.
Okay.
The native me and the teacher me wants to agree and disagree. So
Mm,
technically they say you can't use love, like, etc. with the gerund, the ing continuous tenses.
mhm,
However, if you are at McDonald's or somewhere else eating a pizza, eating something, you say, "Oh, I'm loving this. This is amazing." It's in that moment. It's a true statement.
mm,
So you can really say that you love something in that exact moment. That's a present
mm,
continuous. So yes, however, grammar normally says you cannot do that. So
mm,
this is like I
mm,
said, the between the teacher me and the real person, native me. Does
mm.
that help, Ken?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe not for the test, but people actually, yeah, because
Exactly. Yeah.
language is alive. You know, sometimes it is changing actually. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Well,
I get it.
exactly. And it does make sense. I mean, you can say, I'm absolutely loving this piece of chocolate pie. Who wouldn't? Um, but also at the same time, yeah, like you said, for the exams, academic English, probably not great.
Mm,
For
I see.
real life English, yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much.
Not a problem, Ken. Good question. Any other questions that I can answer right now? Anything that we've seen? Anything that was in the review that I did very quickly at the beginning? Okay. Well, in that case, I think I'm just going to continue on here. And Ken, unmute yourself because it is now your turn to talk to us about the past perfect simple. Okay.
Okay. Past perfect simple. Example. I had already arrived. She had eaten her lunch before they came. Structure subject plus had plus past participle. Function states an event that happened before another past action.
Okay, good. So there aren't any keywords because keywords go for all of the perfect tenses, okay? And that could be like we have here already, we have just, sometimes the adverbs of frequency, never. So there's lots of things that we can use for keywords, but it goes for the present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. Okay, so nothing super specific. That's why there are no keywords here. So great. I had already arrived. Any questions? Here, this is pretty simple because we're using had for every single subject. Why? Just like the past simple, we only have one verb conjugation for all of the subjects. Okay. irregular or regular verbs. Okay. Any questions about this? Okay. Okay, so my question here for everyone in this class is, she had eaten her lunch before they came. What happened first? Did she eat first, or did they come or arrive?
She ate first.
Exactly. And this can be confusing depending on your native language. I know there's a lot of things here in Spanish and probably Portuguese for Anna that might be a little confusing depending on the order and the verb tenses, etc. And so this is one thing that I think is difficult for at least the Spanish in general, as I've worked with them in this tense. It's not always super easy. Any questions? Ken doesn't have any questions. That's fine. Okay. And Bob, I'm actually just going to mute you. I am hearing some background noise. Okay. So if you do want to speak, just go ahead and unmute yourself. All right. Okay. Well, let's continue on. And you know what? I shouldn't have done. Maybe I'll read this one for us. Okay. So this is the past perfect continuous. Okay. I had been working when she called me, and they had been watching TV when he came in. Okay, the structure is the subject had been and the verb in the continuous form. Okay, the function is an action in progress at a time in the past interrupted by a background action. Okay, so there's two things going on, and we're talking about the progression or what's happening when something else happened. All right, so for example, I had been working, so I was at work. Okay, I'm working, that's fine. And someone called me. Okay, we're just saying it in the past tense. Okay, we can even say, I was working when she called me. Okay, and this is just, I don't even know if there is a big difference between the past continuous, I was working, and I had been working. Okay, there's not very, to me, to be as a native, I don't think there's much of a difference. so that's that. It could be confusing, but this just means that there was something happening before or while something else happened. Okay, the background action is the working part. All right, any questions? That might be a little confusing. Any questions?
So you said it doesn't have much difference, but maybe is there the nuance difference between these two sentences?
Between the two sentences that are here, or I was working when she called.
Yes, I was working and I had been working.
Had been working just means that there's probably more of a duration added to it. When we use the past perfect, we start at a period of time, we, continue, and we're still continuing. So that much, it can give you the idea that you are maybe working more. When you use just the past continuous, I was working, I don't know if you were working all day or if you had just started. Okay, it doesn't give me that duration feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I got it. Okay, thank you very much.
Good. Well, you're welcome. Good. Any questions? Anything else? That was a really good question. Like I said, to me, it doesn't sound like there's a big difference. However, it's one of those very specific things if you're really, really, really interested. So that's fine. Bobin, why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself and you can read about the past perfect simple, okay? Do you know how to unmute yourself, Bob? All right, so if I try it, you're probably gonna mute yourself. Oh, there you go. Bob?
It's now okay?
Now I can hear you, yep. All right, so go
Okay.
ahead and read the past perfect simple.
Simple example. she had eaten her lunch before they subject plus had plus function states, and even that happened before another past action. Next.
Well, no, that's enough. That's enough. Let's discuss this
Okay,
one.
okay.
Thanks, Bob. That's
Okay.
fine. Okay, so again, the past perfect simple we have already. Other action. Any questions? Is this a repeat? This looks very similar to. It is. I was like, why does this look so similar? Because there's two of the same. Okay, well, that's fine. Anna, why don't you go ahead and you can read our future tenses, the future simple, okay? Thanks, Bowen, for reading that. And sorry, we had already read that.
Okay. Uh, Future simple. Example. I will buy this dress. She'll be here tomorrow. It won't rain tomorrow. Structure. Subject. Will. Won't. Plus verb in present. Functions. Spontaneous decisions when there are no plans with the verb to be and for predictions. Keywords. Probably, perhaps, maybe.
Okay, so very good. Let's see. This is pretty, well, I don't want to say simple, but it's pretty basic. This is probably the most common future tense that everyone learns when they're at school. It's the easiest. All you're doing is adding will here before the main verb, which we said before is the bear verb. I call it the base verb. Okay. And like same thing here, we have will with be, and then in the negative we just have won't. Will not, we write won't, okay, as the contraction. So any questions about this?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm gonna buy this dress. It's also the future simple.
Well, it's actually, that's pretty colloquial, so let me go ahead and write that in the
I'm
chat.
going to buy.
Exactly. I'm going to buy this dress. Okay.
Yes, it's the
The-
same as I will buy this dress.
No, because
No.
when you say I'm going to or I'm buying, the present simple or the be going to tense, that's when it's a planned action. Okay, so you basically had seen the dress before and you made up your mind. You said, I'm going to buy this dress. When you say I'll buy this dress, that's an immediate, okay? That's an immediate kind of
Uh,
action plan.
what about she's going to
That,
be here tomorrow?
um, she's going to be here. That means that either you are planning on her being there or she is planning on being there.
Which tense is that?
Probably this is a prediction in this case. She'll be here tomorrow is the prediction. You think, oh, this is an important topic. She'll be here at the meeting tomorrow, for example.
Okay, but the tense is the future simple.
Yes.
Okay.
Not is that, do you have more questions? Does that not make sense?
Um, I'm I'm leaving tomorrow.
I'm leaving.
It's also it's the future simple.
Well, yes, this is let me write this. I'm leaving tomorrow is the present continuous with future meaning. Okay. So, and that's because you have tomorrow. If you just say I'm leaving, that's also the present continuous. However, there's no time clause. There's no time reference. I don't know if you mean in this moment, I'm leaving, I'm done, goodbye.
It's a
Or
prediction. A plan for tomorrow.
no, no, in this case, no. The prediction is with will. I'm leaving is
I'm
planned.
I'm I'm going to go snorkeling tomorrow.
That's a planned action.
So it's future,
Correct. Because you have the word tomorrow, and tomorrow is always the future.
but the tense is not future.
No,
No?
it can be used in the future. There are 7 tenses in the future. Okay. And those start with that. The basic one is the future simple, present simple. Okay. I always find it difficult to use the present simple with the future meaning, but you can. So we have that. Then we have the present continuous, which is I'm leaving. We have the be going to. We have will. Then we have our future simple, future perfect, and future continuous. That's 7 different future tenses. Okay, so they all are talking about the future, but they have specifically different meanings. Okay, the be going to and present continuous are basically, I would say, like identical twins if you want to to relate that to something. They're very, very similar. There's very little difference. I just explain it as whichever one sounds better to you. I would say use that one, okay? Because sometimes I'm probably more likely to use the be going to tense than the present continuous. Okay,
In,
why?
in the in
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
movie, the book Chief, when the boy was going to jump in the water to pick her diary, and the girl shout, shouted out, "No, don't go! You are gonna die!"
Well, you are going to is the be going to. Of course, it's not the ideal plan, but it could be something that happens in the future. It's the difference between, for example, will and then we have be going to is basically as a teacher to explain the difference to students. Okay, these are English learners. Um, Will is more immediate. I think of the I, okay, and will as immediate. So for example, I go into my kitchen, I look for some milk, I open the fridge, there's no milk. Okay. Oh, I will go buy some. I didn't know that we didn't have milk. Okay. If I go to the fridge again a different day and I open the fridge and there's no milk, I say, oh, I'm going to buy some milk. That means that I knew that there was no milk, but I didn't buy any yet. Okay? So there's 2 different tenses here. There's 2 different ideas. They can be used for the future, though. Just like you said, you are going to die. It is a bit, it's very complicated, Anna. I get it. I get it. Okay. Do you have specific questions? Any other specific questions? I mean, your example was good. It's just that between the will, present continuous, and be going to, yes, it's quite complicated.
So will is maybe be going to is a maybe concrete for concrete plan, and will also has possibility.
Right.
Uh, yeah, maybe yeah, I can get the sense. Thank you.
Okay. Anna says the boy was going to jump. She didn't know. Right, but you can. Right. It's the thing is, if depending where he was jumping from, I can only imagine that that's a sequence of events. It's going to happen. So, I mean, specific things like that, I'm pretty sure film producers don't think about things like this, and so they don't think about the exact meaning. Now, me as an okay, I'm glad he didn't die. Um, but like I said, sometimes I mean natives don't speak correctly. If you and even me, like when I talk to other natives or I hear other natives, whether they be from England or any English-speaking country, we do not speak correctly. Why? Because we don't learn grammar as children. Okay. I learned this grammar. I'm sure that I've explained this before when I got to Spain, so I could teach English, and understand what I was talking about. I have the book The Thief. No, I haven't, and I'm not a big reader actually. And so we don't always speak correctly. So that's what I can tell you about the whole movie thing. If you're speaking to non-native speakers, they can probably explain to you even better than, well, I know, as compared to a native person who doesn't learn grammar, a non-native English speaker will be able to teach you better, probably. Because I talked to my parents, well, my mom, and other people in the United States, and they don't know what present simple is. They don't know what present continuous is. They have no idea what the structure is. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So good. So technically, yes, Anna, I believe she should have used will. In case of doubt, that's
I mean, if you don't know, um, which better use the will.
well, she should have said might. You might die because there's a possibility. You should have just used the modal verb instead of future tense. Honestly.
Don't make it even more complicated.
I'm just changing topics here. No, she should have said you might die or you could die, for example, in that specific case. Or you will probably die, okay? Using will and the keyword probably would have been a better fit than you're going to. Okay. That's the fun thing about English is you can use many different tenses and everything, so it doesn't have to always be the same. Okay. Anna, is it more or less okay for you right now?
I guess so. It's
Confused,
complicated,
but
Yes. I, I will think. No, I think I will use will always.
well, okay, well, in that case, the only thing I can say there is will is the immediate decision and going to or present continuous is the planned action. Those are the main differences between those two, immediate or planned. You have to ask yourself that. But honestly, as long as you communicate something in one of the future tenses, you should be fine, okay? Ken or Bob, any questions? That was difficult. Sorry, Anna.
Yeah, one last question from me. And how about I'll be eating tomorrow? Be eating kind of present continuous for future is is it a planned thing or a prediction thing?
Well, hold on there. Ken, actually, why don't you read that? Because we didn't read the future
Okay.
continuous yet, okay?
Sorry. I my
I just
my
moved the
question,
screen.
sorry, my question is about I'm leaving, present continuous
Ah,
expresses future. So
yes,
I'm leaving is like is going to be it's a planned action.
correct.
Okay, not like will, kind of, not a prediction.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Ken, hold on. Mark has a question here, so we'll let Mark ask the question, and then you can read the future continuous. Okay, go ahead. You're muted. Oh, there you go.
Hey,
Hi.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is kind of weird because I asked this question a lot of teachers before as well. Um, I wanted to ask you, is grammar is really necessary? Because I've got a lot of teachers over here as well, and they used to say, grammar comes to you by listening. So do we have to go through all the rules of grammar? Just asking, you know.
Very good question. I'm happy to answer that. And my personal answer would be no. Okay. If you're looking to communicate in another language, you can use hand gestures, signals, signs, pointing, words, vocabulary words. You know, there's so many different ways of communicating. That's fine. Grammar is not necessary unless you want to speak correctly. So it depends why you're studying, if it's English or another language, what you're going to use it for, if it's professional, to go on a trip. So there's a lot of factors. Okay. Personally, I don't think
Okay.
it's necessary, but it definitely does help you explain yourself in that language.
Yeah, right. Like at times, if people are learning rules of grammar, they'll be thinking, if they want to speak, they'll be thinking where the past tense work, where the present tense works, and they'll be like, oh God, how to use this. So I was just wondering, do we need to memorize all these things?
No, you don't, but many people do enjoy it. And I think it's good. I mean, when I learned Spanish, of course, I learned grammar as well. Ugh, boring, boring, boring sometimes until you actually get to the age where you're interested in it, is what I found out. So, no, I don't think it's necessary. It depends, like I said, what you're using this for. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Thank you for answering me. Sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, Ken, why don't you go ahead and read the future continuous?
Okay. The future continuous. Example: I'll be eating out tomorrow. She won't be coming next week. Structure: subject plus will, want plus be plus verb in continuous form. Function: to say what progressive action will be in process in the future. Keywords: probably, perhaps, maybe.
All right, so very good. So this is another one of those future continuous, it's a continuous action in the future. It might be confusing, but it's still, is the same structure of any continuous tense. We have the verb to be plus a verb and ing. However, we are specifying that it's the future. How do we use future? The easiest way is with will, okay? So we have will and then be in the infinitive because of the will, okay? After will, it's a modal verb. We always use it in the infinitive, in this case, the base verb, without conjugating it, okay? And this is for specific moments in the future, okay? So like it says in the first sentence, I'll be eating out tomorrow. It doesn't specify exactly what time, but it will be tomorrow. Maybe it's in the exact time as they're saying this. In the second sentence, she won't be coming next week. Okay. We don't exactly know what day next week she's planning on coming or not, but she won't be. Okay. Questions here? Does this make sense?
So keyword suggests it's also the prediction, not the concrete plan.
Well, and do you know why that is?
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You wrote that. Sorry, I missed it. Oh my gosh, I was absent-minded.
That's okay. I just like to reinforce what's happening. It was a good question. No, that's fine. Don't worry. Are there other questions about about anything? No? Okay, well, it doesn't sound like it. Okay, well, thank you for answering. All right, well, good. Well, I'm glad that that's clear. Okay. Just trying to think. I think what we might do is stop here because I would like to continue this in a different class. So let me I'm going to stop screen sharing here. Just a second. Okay. All right, good. So hi, I'm here again. Hi, everybody. Any specific questions? I know grammar can be very difficult, but are are things better now? Are they a little bit more clear? It's nice that you can see me, I guess. Any questions? We still have some more
English
tenses.
tense is complicated than Japanese, definitely. So yeah, maybe this type of class is very beneficial for me because especially the past perfect kind of thing, there's no sentence or even the future tense. There's no future tense in Japanese. So learning tenses in English is very helpful for me. So thank you very much.
Well, I'm glad I can help and confuse you at the same time. I know, I mean, even learning Spanish, there are more verb tenses in Spanish than in English, and there's one that doesn't even exist in English. And I thought, well, how am I supposed to understand this? So I get it. Mark, do you have a question?
Yeah, right. I was gonna ask you, recently I have given a test for my level in English and I got C2, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
in grammar, I got a really bad level. I got about B2.
Well, B2 is not bad. I
So,
mean, that's still high. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's okay, it's not so great. And they were saying you gotta work on your grammar. And I was having an argument with a person because, since I'm living in a place where everybody speaks English, right? Here, people in America speaks more in slangs rather in grammar.
Mm-hmm.
So I live, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Well, the only thing I wanted to say is I don't know if it was I think it was before you got here, is that natives don't always speak correctly. We don't even know what tense we're using when we're speaking, but we know how it sounds because our parents taught us to speak. Okay, so like you said, we learn by listening. Absolutely. That's how babies learn how to speak their native language. We have to learn how to write when we're 5, 6, 7 years old because all we've been doing is listening for the first 5, 6, 7 years of our lives. So yes, so I do understand here in Spain, the same thing happens. They use some verb tenses and I think, well, that's not necessarily correct because you didn't use this and you should have said this. But we communicate and that's the basic thing. Okay, does that make sense?
Right, like when I was in here, I was thinking probably people gonna speak more in a correct grammar. And I went to a lot of places, like teachers and professors always use more correct grammar because they're literate, but not the local people. They're like, "What's up, you dude?" They're like typical slangish kind of English, which goes above my head at times.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, one of the things I want to ask you
Mm-hmm.
is, sorry, go ahead,
No,
sorry,
no, 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 I
you're
wasn't
gonna say
gonna.
something.
No, it's fine. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, I was thinking probably I should try to teach as well. So I was planning to do a course, which is, you might have heard about this course, CELTA, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just give me a sec. Gotta write over there. Yeah, here we go.
Yep. CELTA, I believe, is for teaching adults. Certified
Which,
English Language Teaching Adults or something like that. I
yeah,
think.
right. So yeah, right. I was thinking, so can you suggest me how can I be a teacher? I mean, like what things do I need to do to be a teacher?
I
An
mean,
English teacher?
yeah, well, what you can do is first you have to get certified. Okay. And I did an online course. Granted, I am a native teacher, so it's a little bit different. You would have to do the TOEIC is one of those as well, that it's a non-native English teacher. Okay. So you haven't been speaking English since birth, but yes, there are different courses that you can take. I think TOEIC is one. The TOEFL is the other one, something like that. The CELTA, I'm not sure if you have to be native or not. So that's something to look into. But all you do is teach grammar, basically. You have to have a certain level. But that way it helps. When I was learning how to be a teacher? When I was getting certified to be a teacher, I got all these emails. I did my course online and I was looking at all the information. I was just sitting there agreeing with all these verb terms that makes sense. All of this I can now connect to what I'm saying to what I have to teach. And that's the difference with a native, is that I know what tenses sound right. Okay. Maybe a lot of people say, I seen that the other day. Okay. That is absolutely incorrect. I hate that. You'll probably hear that, okay? And so I'll write this. I seen that, for example. Well, that's absolutely incorrect because I saw that, depending on your time clause, or I have seen, or had seen. Okay, I seen is not correct at all. So you'll hear things that are incorrect, okay? But at least now that when you're a teacher, you understand those things, okay? Yep, Anna.
Yeah, right. Like it makes a lot of sense
Good. It
when
makes
you are
sense.
teaching yourself as well.
Exactly, and it's about relating everything that you're reading to what you're living, to what you say, and things like that. And actually, learning Spanish helped me learn English by learning the different parts of speech, the different prepositions, and I could relate to things. I was like, well, wait a second. If an article is this in Spanish, then is it this in English? And it was. And I thought, well, of course it is. So, learning a different language actually helped me learn my own language a little bit better, which sounds extremely strange, but it's true.
Oh, you're trying to say they are interrelated, right?
Well, the parts of speech, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, etc., stuff like that. So to an extent,
Yeah.
not translating necessarily, but parts of speech, because I had a huge verb list. And I was like, a verb, what's a verb? It's an action word. Okay, well, that's fine. An action word. What's an action word? Things that you move, walk, run, things like that. So it helped me understand more, I guess, even though I knew what an adjective was. Oh, yeah, sure, blue, that's an adjective. It describes something. Happy, oh, that's an adjective. That's, so it just helped me understand a little bit more. Yeah. Yep. So grammar is important. Not super necessary, but important. All right. I like this conversation. However, we do have to finish up for today. So if you have any questions, go ahead, write them down. But yeah, it was a really good class, at least on my end. I think it was. Hopefully you learned something, or at least can apply the knowledge that you have and say, you know what, it makes sense. Maybe I'm not at the right level to use that yet, but I'll get there, or something like that. Okay, so if you don't understand something, ask me in the next class. All right, next class is on Sunday at the
Sure.
same time. Okay, we'll be talking about health. All right.
Okay,
You
thank you
have a
very
great
much.
day.
All right. Well, everyone have a great day too. Thanks for coming, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday, if not next Wednesday at the same time as today, okay? All
Okay,
right.
thank you very
Sure.
much. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.
You
Goodbye.
too. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.